Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to Paw Daddy's Blind Hog Barbecue. This morning I got a quick video and review of the Greenwood Propane Torch that I got at Harbor Freight, and it's also available at Amazon. And we're going to talk about the torch, and then we're going to talk also about the 20-pound propane tanks that you have to use and some of the issues that you run into. And I've got some good information on that. And if you use a 20-pound propane tank on any of your appliances, well then you need to probably watch this video, because we're going to talk about the excess flow valve. So please like and subscribe and enjoy the video. Okay guys, today we're just going to talk about this Greenwood Propane Torch. These things, they're sold on Amazon, and they're sold at Harbor Freight. I got mine at Harbor Freight. And Paw Daddy tip, the price is a lot cheaper on this item at Harbor Freight, a whole lot cheaper at Harbor Freight. So I paid like $24.99 for this model. They got two versions of this. I got the plain Jane one. They got one that's got a starter, a push button starter. It comes in a small box, and all you have to do is screw this hose on the end, and then you've got it assembled. And of course, you have to screw it to your propane tank. This thing comes with a modified version of a POL valve. POL is the old Prestolite. They still use these in Australia a whole lot, and it's called POL because it's made by the Prestolite company. But this may not be a true Prestolite valve, but it's that type of valve. And on your overfill protection device, that's what they call this valve. You've got threads on the outside, which that's what you'd use if you had the big old plastic Acme nut. And a whole lot of the appliances in the USA come with that if they're made for the 5-gallon bottle. But these valves all have inside threads also. But the thing about the inside threads, they're left hand, they're not right hand. So it's not righty-tighty and lefty-loosey, it's just the opposite. And one way to tell that you've got the up-to-date OPD valve, which they won't refill your tank if you don't have this up-to-date valve, but it'll have we call that a triangle-shaped handle. And on the top of that handle, it says OPD, so that's a pretty big hint. But anyway, that is your modern valve. In the package, you get the torch, you get the hose, and you get a wrench. The wrench is not real good, it'll do it a pinch, but typically I don't use the wrench, so I'm used to using channel locks on something like this, which is technically not the correct way to do it, but it does work. So anyway, what you have to do is put this in here, turn it in the wrong direction, which is to the left, to the left, to the left. We're just going to go and tighten this up. And on these propane tanks, technically, this valve is a double seating valve. So it's fully seated when it's closed or when it's wide open. So that's the position you're supposed to use it. But I can't make myself go wide open with it while I'm using it, even though it's got the excess flow device on there. And the excess flow is a check valve. So like if you're using this torch and something happens and this hose gets cut, well, then you would have full pressure of this tank coming out, which would be a tremendous type fire. Well, that shuts it down and to a very minimal flow. So theoretically, you would be able to get in there and shut this valve. So if I have to go shut this valve, I don't want to have to go make 4 or 5 turns on it. So while though it's not technically correct, and I'm not telling you to do it, I'm telling you that's how I normally do it. Okay, what I'm going to attempt to do now is to light the torch, but I'm going to intentionally trip the excess flow valve, and then it'll trip and you'll see a diminished flow. And I'm going to, at that point, I'm going to go ahead and reset it by slowly closing the valve on the propane tank. And then it'll click again and hopefully we'll pick up that sound. And then you'll see the flow return to the torch. And at that point, I probably won't be able to talk above that torch. So we'll just be doing the demonstration on that part. So I'm going to go ahead and open this valve right here so I will get the excess flow. And hopefully you'll hear it click. Okay, there, it did click. All right, that's all the flow we got. You can see that's diminished flow. Now, listen for the click when I close this propane valve. I'm not going to close it all the way, just enough for it to equalize the pressure, and you'll see the flow returns. But that's all we got, even with the turbo. So we're going to close this down. It clicked. Okay, I guess you could tell that I was having a lot of fun making that video. I highly recommend the Greenwood Propane Torch, but you got to be careful because you may just have too much fun. So I appreciate everyone watching, and I hope you'll hit the like button, and then on your way out, think about subscribing, and I'll see you next time at Paw Daddy's Blind Dog.